It feels like just a lifetime ago, the first ever broadcast on this channel kicked off, and it was a little plucky group of American touring car racers. Does feel like an eternity ago, but it's only been a few weeks, and have they just flown by for some? We're here for the grand finale of the TCR SOF Plus series as we head to the first track not on the iRacing schedule, Circuit de Navarra, substituting in for Spa-Francorchamps. It's a big track well loved by our season leader, so might as well give him the honour of choosing that one on the schedule. There's a close championship fight to the line between multiple drivers, and looks like we have some mildly wet conditions to finish off this season. I'm here with Jim Cunningham, who's been here for longer than anyone else has run this league alongside with me, and we have a massive reunion, one of the biggest fields of drivers we've ever seen in this league, to round out this very fun competition.
Yeah, it's a great field tonight, Howie, and I'm thrilled to be here for the finale. This has been a great season this year. It's been a lot of fun getting to know some of these guys, and I tell you, I got out on track a little earlier. You talk about these wet conditions. It is slick out there, and I was struggling to get my car balanced in it, but these guys were passing me like I was standing still out there. But it's good. I think it's gonna be light to no rain and mildly wet. So in theory, if no more rain falls, we could get drier conditions, and these guys may have to switch to dry tires during the race, which would make for some fun strategy.
That would certainly change things on the field, I think. If this track got dry enough to change, we're going to start seeing the actual tyre change happen on purpose. This season has gotten super, super close, and I was able to just get together the championship standings in time to show to the whole field. Here's where we stand right now. Bryce Allen leads the championship, but JB could easily swipe it with a good result. I hope those scores are correct. Honestly, setting them up has been such an absolute nightmare that if they're wrong, I'll be the first to report back. And then those are completely wrong. In fact, those have more than doubled. So we'll put that away. It was worth a shot while it lasted. JB leads the championship on 297 points, with Bryce Allen in P2 with 290 points. I'll see what can be done about that in the time we have. Now, I was complaining about the cameras at Zolder. This is proving to be an absolute... this is proving to be worse than I could have possibly imagined.
I can confirm when I came into the broadcast booth tonight, Howie was absolutely talking to himself in frustration, trying to get those standings up there for you guys, and apparently we got him up. We just we gave him a little too many points, but
they were working, and they go live and they break immediately. So that's life.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. So we do have a little championship battle here. I mean, Bryce and JB, JB was very helpful when I was out on track. He was giving me some tips for setting my car up and stuff. Even though he's driving, most of the field is driving Hondas, and I was out there in a Honda Civic. But he was helping me out. I'm looking over here at the qualifying right now is going on, and it looks like JB right now has got the fastest lap. He's at a 159.5, and the next closest is Bryce Allen with a 159.6. So as the point standing, they're right together.
Those are correct this time. I added a sum column at the end for my own purposes and then just left it in the CSV as ever. Drivers about numbers here on this field aren't in this race, but that means we have most of the pack together. And now we can see visually with our eyes that JB and Bryce Allen are incredibly close. And Mitwelka is unlikely to take it given the weeks he's missed, but crazy things could happen. We have a monster-sized field for this league, at least. It's had its ups and downs in terms of participation, for sure, but we have a lot of drivers that have made it out today. 10 have set qualifying laps, and I think more still to come. Some guests have been called in by Lewis Gilbert, and who is another Brit. Oh, living in the USA, that's how we made it here. Okay, alongside Damon Mitchell and possibly some more on the field, just to try to deputise as many friends as possible for the grand finale. This series will be taking a break after this, but I'd love to catch this field out somehow, some way. In fact, I already have encountered a couple of them in the last week when we were racing for in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. I grinded it for SR, and I bumped into more than one of the drivers from this league in my sessions.
That's, well, I mean, you should start recruiting those guys for endurance teams.
We've got a lot of endurance drivers that stand, I'll be honest. Although the Daytona 24 is going to take the absolute, living field to all eternity to work. So it could work.
Yeah, well, this week I was grinding my oval safety rating, so I did not do much road racing this weekend. This week I've been trying to self-promote before the end of this coming week. So I spent most of my time but I did put in a few laps here today, and I actually like this track. It was new, maybe 2 seasons ago it came out, I think, maybe the beginning of the year, possibly. But I like it. It's got several layouts. I'm not a huge fan of this particular layout, but it's overall I do like this track. I love the V format here, where you go straight right here instead of taking that turn, and it's a fun little track to do in V's and stuff like these lower powered cars. I did it F4. I didn't care as much for that. But
didn't get on with it terribly well when I was new, but there are a lot of tracks I didn't get on with when I was new, and then I'd come to love them when I was older, and I haven't really gotten to race this in a more serious series now that I've gotten more experience, but it seems like it's got a little bit of everything, and I'd love to give it another shot around. To be honest, as much as I dig Spa, this is probably the better TCR track than Spa.
100%.
So
100%. Not even close. I love Spa. It's my second favorite track. But here we go. Now we got the starting grid.
We've got the grid already up here of JB to J on P1 with Bryce Allen in P2. Damon Mitchell, new driver here, hits up P3 with Nathan Lee in 4th. Lucas Rella in the Burger King car, my favourite. One day he'll change the base livery and it won't do that to the windows in P5. Mitchell welcome in P6. I need to speak over the mic that I didn't mute. Darren Whittington in P7 with Lucas Gilbert in 8. Zachary Spencer in 9. Stephen Fox in 10. And I think we have Tanner Gruber in 11. Sonny Zhao, as we found out that it's referred to in 12th. And you showed up for practice. So congratulations, Jim. You've made up a grid spot. I worked out why it was doing that in previously. It's because I was not pressing the right button. If you end up in practice, you end up on the field. We won't be seeing you on the track today, but I did get you in the thumbnail for good measure.
You did. So I just want to say 2 things. First thing is, before we get going here real quick, that's the best looking starting grid. Like the graphics that you use are fantastic. It's some of the best looking starting grid graphics in all the broadcast on iRacing. And I really mean that. It's not just because I'm here. Seriously, that's a good looking broadcast graphic.
Well, ATVO provides the option, and I usually save it for the mini stock league, to be honest. Maybe that's just me being selfish, holding it back. Sometimes the grids get really big. Once you see it in one place, though, trust me, you might see it in other places too. They provided a beautiful graphic for those starting grids that you can use. I'm not going to call it a trade secret. Okay? I'll be upfront and straightforward over here. We all get to pay to use that one.
Yeah, but no, seriously, I mean, there's all kinds of graphic companies out there, and that's the best looking starting grid. That's the first time I've seen it on your broadcast, and I love it.
Wow. Well, good to know the show's looking good. We're about to go green any second. They gridded real fast, and JB2J leads off the start. Damon Mitchell getting a very, very good launch behind. I'm sorry that Navarra's TV camera angles are very bad. Bryce Allen sits in behind. Damon Mitchell's made a great jump in that Audi. Not usually a car we see up the front, but he's not done. Trying to make that attack into these tricky first few corners. Down behind, Lewis Gilbert was on the outside battling out with Mitchell. Welcome. Not sure who's going to get the better of that, so we focus on this to lap 1 battle. JB2J still gets the best launch he can out of that corner. Doesn't quite catch JB. Damon Mitchell right behind, looking to strike. Mitchell Welker does get the better of Lewis Gilbert, and the whole field, they're almost too wide the whole way down. Further behind, these drivers are chasing everywhere, and I have to get used to some new cars. Is Darren Whittington's Honda Civic. You see there are Civics on the field. It really is going to be his early chase, though. What was that?
He was actually the only one in practice. I was trying to pick some tips out of him, but I tell you what, man, Damon Mitchell here is giving Bryce Allen all he wants, and that's a surprise. You know, we haven't seen a lot of Audis get up there and be competitive with these Hondas, but man, he's a new driver and he's looking good. This could be this is exciting up here.
Well, I'm very much hoping some of these drivers find a way to get together and keep racing after this lead. They might be able to pick a nice SOF slot and bring me back for it one day as this top 4 very much breaks away. Lewis Gilbert further behind, leading this next field, going quite wide there from Damon Mitchell. He's not got too many points to look out for, but that penalty is very harsh as Mitchell Welker looking to try and steal any points possible. He does get right into the side of him now. I don't think that is quite how we wanted to make that pass.
I don't know.
But we do have driver radio.
Man, he's all right, though.
We do have driver radio today. Actually, it's an improvement on the iRacing experience. A little apology coming up for that one. Looked like a nice mistake understeering through into that corner, but both drivers have been set well back. The sportsmanlike move there from a championship contender here, dropping back after that contact to try and not make the most of it. JB still ahead out the start as Lewis Gilbert sort of forces out, gets forced out wide. It is Lewis Gilbert in the Audi and Darren Whittington sort of pushing him a little bit out. You want to be careful about those curbs in this rain. Nathan Lee's got a lot to make up though, and he's got some drivers to punch through to make up places. This is an early wet race. Drivers are really a bit scared around here. They really are guessing. I can't believe TV1 gets blocked by a mountain on a brand new track iRacing. Like, can we get a real camera angle around it? But they're ultra close. This is going to get very tight and tricky in the first part. And this track could dry out later for the second half and really change the dynamic.
Yeah, well, and yes, and that would be amazing. I so hope that happens for some excitement. But I tell you what, Mitch Welker being back there in 7th now, you know, he's faster than these guys. He qualified faster. He was running faster. He put himself back there with that little incident with Damon earlier. He's going to start picking these guys back off, and clearly he's driving aggressive tonight. There you go, right there. Nice little inside move, maybe a little fender on it, you know, on your favorite Burger King car. You might have dented up your French fries there.
I do love that car. It just I first saw it in like thumbnails and like photos, and I was like, "There's a Burger King car," you know. That even TV Mix would rather see the parking lot today. I mean,
I meant to say he might have dented up your chips.
True. The fast food restaurants still call them fries, would you believe it? They've been infested by the Americans. So Mitchell Welker's got some gaps to make up here. He did drop back after that early contact, and now if he wants to score points, he's going to have to push for it. How much am I going to have to click around to make even the TV mixed camera decide to cooperate with me? I gave Zolder, okay, we laughed at Zolder last week. We made a little bit of fun of the cameras at Zolder, thinking, like, you know, it's an old track that they just didn't update the cameras on when they did the visual replay. This track is like 2 seasons old, so you know, I see why we're going to work on this for the new season. We are definitely going to pay people to produce some cameras for this because, iRacing continues to impress me. I won't complain about it all race. I promise we'll just use the chopper a whole lot more, I think, is down the further back. Damon Mitchell, Stephen Folks, who we haven't quite seen in that Veloster, and Tanner Gruber, who we do see around in these fields. They've got a nice three-car battle running at the back of this field. Try and keep an eye on that, but at the same time, Lucas is attacking Nathan Lee and is going to have the inside line all to himself as he tries to outbrake, tries to get it through. That's clean. Now it's on Midge Welker to try and make the same move himself on Nathan. Looks like it's going to go side by side. This track's got a lot of tight corners, a lot where you don't quite get the perfect exit one into another. Cars coming together just a little. Mitch is going to have the advantage for now, but I don't think they'll be done anytime soon.
Yeah, this track does have a nice mix of tight corners and that long straight section that is a high speed area with a heavy braking zone at the end. You're going to see a lot of passing right down in that area.
Yeah, well, we're not going to see anything like that. Last time, does TV Static need to do the job? Maybe TV Static needs to do the job. Now, that is a real spin and getting loose there from Bryce Allen there in the wet. And in front of him, actually, that's the Honda Civic Darren Whittington that just spun himself around. I don't even know. I need to get some replays out. I need to dig those ones out. I think quite a few drivers just had their own little incidents around. Let's try and catch the replay on that again. I think Bryce did it first. Bryce spun himself, hit the curb coming out. Darren Whittington up the inside. No, he does get tagged. He does get tagged by Bryce Allen coming out the corner and turned around, but it all kicked off when he got loose out of that corner. That's a meatball flag for Darren Whittington, unfortunately, and that was just an honest mistake from Bryce getting loose and spinning to cause that one.
Wow, yeah, that's a tough break there, man. I wonder if it did any damage to. It looked like Mitch Welker caught him with the front of his car. I wonder if Mitch got any damage in that.
Mitch was the one in the earlier contact, and that was more Bryce's doing, but Bryce doesn't look like he's damaged. It looks like he's running good. A nasty hit, though, from Darren that's going to need the meatball clearing. That Honda seems to just, take meatballs for anything in the way that the other cars don't. It happened last week at Zolder as well. Contact where the car should have been. I know I keep talking to you about Zolder as if you were there, and I know you weren't, but all these thematic loops are all coming back around. We've seen these things happen.
Actually, I was there. I watched a good bit of that broadcast. I do want to say on the coverage that I thought Mitch did a fantastic job last week.
I've literally did get in contact with Mitch after the fact saying if you want to, that is, get Darren Whittington sort of trying to clear himself there on Damon Mitchell, I think. They're on a straight. I'm not really sure if that was called for from Darren Whittington, who's running the meatball flag already. He does need to stop or he'll get a DQ. Maybe,
No.
Was that one called for? Right, I'm not completely sure.
What? Yeah, what was that all about?
Just friends being friends, guys being dudes. I don't really know, and I'm going to choose not to speculate too much. I mean, we do see the Alcantech mini stock drivers wreck each other every 5 minutes, but that was particular. Now, I hope Darren knows that he does need to stop, because otherwise he'll be eating a DQ, and he was fast earlier in the race, and I would hate to lose him, but you get 3 laps to serve that meatball, and you are down and out. Yes, I did actually contact Mitch after the race saying, look, if you want to commentate anything else we do, then I love working with you, and we'll do it. So you could actually see him back on the channel someday.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. He was doing he was great.
I promise, I think you can hear that typing and the stream can't, by the way. You don't have to worry too much about it. The stream is safe from that. I've just had a crazy noise suppression combo, like one system stacked on top of each other, like it's just some like horrible, the longer you work on live streams, the worse your setup gets, honestly. Yeah, I promise the stream can't hear that abomination. You'll just have to put up with it. I mean, like...
Man, Lucas Reller up here in second place. Not a name that I've seen here at the group. I don't know if he's done some other races. He
is our Burger King car, but he has...
Oh, that's Lucas. Okay.
But a lot of the time, he's either run in the middle or ended up in some horrific accident. But I think he's been the beneficiary of a lot of accidents. We've had them all over the place so far. And he's really made up some... That's not reasonable. I'm remembering now. I'm remembering that one of the first races we did, he was leading the pack until he took tyres. So actually, he is very fast here. He never got results to represent it. So
that's correct. That's correct. Yes. He did do that with the tyres, and then he also missed a race, I think, that I was in, and then he also crashed out early, or got crashed. I'm not sure. I don't think it was his fault, but.
I was trying to have something else here. I'll work out the way to get an angle of that. But yes, I missed quite a few weeks. I'm trying to spot the damage on Mitch Welker's car, but actually I can't use rear chase because that's the camera I moved to take the thumbnail. So, it's a great day. It's actually Bryce Allen's car that's damaged on the front. You can see, I think you noticed that there is a little bit of that cosmetic damage to the front of that Bryce Allen car, and I do wonder if it has affected the wheels at all as Damon Mitchell punches his way past for now. These curbs are proving a bit lethal for drivers, though. I'd be a bit careful about running wide. We've seen more incidents than ever before.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I got out a couple of times today, I got the rumple strips themselves weren't too bad, which is surprising. They're usually really slick. But when my tires got on that green paint outside of that, my front tires just started spinning like crazy, which is weird. Usually the rumple strips, the red and white areas are the ones that get slick. But that wasn't too bad. But when I got out on that green, man, my tires were just busting loose immediately.
I mean, I've become quite scared of the rain. This week, I've been trying to get my safety rating up to run IMSA at Daytona. I lost it at the last second as Nathan Lee almost gets loose. And while he's not going to lose the car, I think Lewis Gilbert is going to have the exit pace to try and take him around the outside of the next few corners. Mitch Welker was right. This track is producing some fantastic racing as Nathan almost gets into the back of Lewis Gilbert. Just about gets away with it for now. Do I hear a slide behind? Is something happening behind? I'm trying to get at Stephen Folks running a little bit wide. I cannot believe we're going to have to spend a whole race watching from the chopper cam as things stand. Nathan Lee not having the result that's usually quite befitting of his pace at the moment. There's been a massive just field in his way, unlike in previous cases. And now he's really on the back foot. He's fast, but he's got to make up places here and soon because the points matter for proverbial pride, I think, especially when there's a bunch of... It's a bit like when you're a top four driver in the NASCAR playoffs and that only 3 other people are competing for points, but they're all in... Everyone else is just in your way. That's the feeling I'm getting from here, everyone else is racing.
I can say this: ain't nobody in JB to J's way right now. He is running away right now. He is 9 seconds ahead of Lucas. He's running at one of his races, man. When he gets going, he can go. And by the way, I cleared up the ethnicity on his name today. I thought that was a French name. Being from Louisiana, I thought it was like a Cajun French type name, but he actually said it is not. It is, I believe he said it's Dutch. I was more concerned that it wasn't French, but I believe he said it was Dutch.
Nathan Lee trying to get the run now on Lewis Gilbert. doesn't get it done quite yet. Every corner on this track, I've got to say, is very, very challenging. This sort of like weird double, triple apex, but he's able to get the speed in the middle of the straights. That's usually quite hard. Lewis Gilbert's made a big mistake. He's run wide, but what a run from Stephen Fox there, coming out of the complex. It looks like Nathan Lee had a worse run than them all, because even Lewis Gilbert is back in action now. I'm having to click around all the time just to make sure we can see this fantastic battle. Lewis Gilbert just sort of slips behind, but where did that run come from?
Man, well, I think Nathan might have not got the best run off, which kind of explains why Stephen Fox might have looked super fast there. But what surprised me was Gilbert went horribly off track. He got all out into that green, and then he comes flying up on the side of Nathan, man.
I think both drivers got compromised. Look, even Stephen Fox gets super loose, but then it turns into this hairpin. Both drivers have had a bad run of it, and Stephen Fox just dives out of nowhere, full pace, to send him around. But there's so much passing going on around here; it's hard to keep track of it all.
Nathan had to get broke his tires loose or something there and let off for a minute, because I think he was on that curbing and that green section too, and I think he probably let off, and that's where he lost his momentum, and those guys, looked like they had this impressive run on him, because they all three had the horrible turn there, really. I mean,
Here's Mitchell Welker. He slips and slides, but he's going to have the speed and a little bit of contact into this XF-hander to take the P2 away from Lucas Rella and make his chase back up from the front. Also, by the way, Darren Whittington has returned from the pits. Probably no contender for a good result, but he will be hitting up the track, and he was fast. So I'd like to see if anything happens, if he'll be able to have fun with it.
Well, the one thing we can guarantee when you see Mitch Welker on the track is not scared to lay a fender on somebody and pass him. We've seen that all year long. He drives aggressive. Of course, I love that. But definitely not scared to put a fender on him and get him by you. He gets going. He can go. And
as we try and resolve whatever's going on over there, Stephen Fox is charging back through the field. He's net coding out, so we don't quite get to see the reality of that pass in full motion, but Stephen Fox is fast, and he's just going back and forth with this battle between Bryce Allen and Nathan Lee. Should be able to get some live championship standings to take a look at what's been going on, or I'd like to, but just constantly, these two drivers have been at each other's throats all race, and Nathan isn't a whole million miles off. I believe that's the lapped car of Darren Whittington in the middle, and he certainly is racing to get his places back. He is not conceding for anyone. He is an absolute participant in this combat. He wants to try, he's, I believe, 2 laps down to the next guy, and Sonny Zhao would be the next one he has to go and pass, and it's making it interesting to follow, because he is absolutely just setting himself right in the middle as Lucas Rella tries to make an attack on Mitch Welker as well. God, every time the race is good here, I'm reminded why these TCRs are so much fun. Nothing battles like these.
Yeah, this is they're really the amount of horsepower that these cars have, and the front wheel drive. It really is a great series, especially if you keep them on these smaller tracks. Although we put them on the Red Bull Ring, and we thought that was going to be a disaster, and it was actually really good racing there too. So, but they do on these smaller tracks. They really do provide some great excitement. They're a fun car to drive. They really are. I've grown to appreciate them. I've done some laps in them now, this season. And I can really appreciate how much fun they are. I may even try to run, part of that series next year.
Last week was an IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge week, and as much as I like these cars, here's my story time. As much as I like these cars, I'm pretty bad at them, yeah. Like, I'm just fundamentally haven't really got my head screwed on. And I also didn't like Zolder. I just don't get on with Zolder, man. It just doesn't really work for me. But I hopped into an IMPC to get a safety rating, and I come out 2-hour endurance, come out P2 with like constant real battling with the car behind while dealing with traffic. Like, we were at each other's throats for the whole race. We finished with a 5-second gap in an endurance race. Yeah, it was crazy. I then decide to queue up for the next one. Nathan Lee is running GT4s. This is all true. Nathan Lee is running GT4s in this race I'm in. Sunny Zhao is spotting him in the GT4s. So we have 2 of the SMF Plus drivers who've invaded my lobby. Bryce Allen also tried to get in the race, but he got a split up. And yet again, we had a last lap overtake for P2 in a 2-hour endurance in the TCR class. These cars are ridiculous. There's just, like, after that, I've been changed forever because, number one, I realised I can double podium in these cars that I'm usually pretty bad at. And number two, I realised even in these endurance format, it's crazy. It's out of control. I mean, I like these already, but that weekend sold me.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun race. I've got to race these cars some. Just doing practice laps in them. I want to get out there and battle in these things.
Oh, and like,
I want to find a nice league like this.
Well, IMPC is a fun thing to do because it is sort of an event. You sort of get all the names together for it. There aren't many TCR drivers in the field as well, so people get on quite well. You all get to commiserate when GT4s do stupid stuff to you. So Lewis Gilbert really gives the bumper to Nathan Lee. The violence is out in full force today, let me tell you that.
Well, that's the fun part about league racing. You can lay a fender on somebody. You can have a little, bumping heads, and it's okay. It's not going to kill your safety rating, and it's not going to, ruin your race. You finished great, but your safety rating took a beating, and, you're worried about that. That's the beauty of league racing. None of that matters. You just get out there and race.
And one day my iRating will be good enough to run with the best drivers, and then I'll be an absolute weapon. So yeah, should be able to. I'm going to I'll try getting an updated championship standings as Nathan Lee battles it out with Lewis Gilbert. They are non-stop on this. I don't know if this is live. It looks like it is live because drivers are in the 300s now, and you do get about 40 points for getting a first. So this looks like it will right. As it stands, JB to J ahead of Bryce Allen to win the championship, and quite the margin because Bryce is only running in P6. JB's taken away the race win. It would be the cleanest championship victory he could ask for after a very, very, very tight confrontation. Now, Lewis Gilbert, I gotta say, he tried to make it to like 4 weeks in a row. Bless him. We had to remind him the start time every week, and then he wouldn't be able to make it. And he's finally shown up here, and he's been a great racer. I've been wanting to see him sooner. Hope to see more of him down the line because he really has been tangling with these drivers today.
That sounds a lot like a commentator I know that has to keep getting reminded of the start time, But also, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Today is just, it's a relaxed day for us in the booth, actually, We're just having a great one,
I was going to make a point about something on the track.
I've done 2 late night broadcasts in a row. I literally Talladega till 4 a.m. for another channel, and here I am now doing 2 a.m. TCRs on the final race of the season. It's the best racing we've seen too far, and we're just having too much fun up here. We're allowed to have it. I believe you were talking about Lewis Gilbert though, who hasn't raced very much.
No, my point was actually Bryce Allen. You said he's in second and he's losing some ground to JB because he's running 6. He definitely looks like he has some damage on the front of his car there, and I think in the end that Bryce's car may be just roughed up enough that he can't make those spaces up from that earlier incident, but which is unfortunate because he's fast, and but I think that's just too much damage to overcome.
Well, these cars are weird because in terms of aero damage, it doesn't really exist. These cars are not aerodynamically efficient, all right? They are boats. But I don't know about wheel damage. I could take a look at Bryce and see if he's doing something weird to the wheel. I'm going to have to do, and I hit this by accident earlier, it's never a nice camera to look at, the cockpit cam, but, that is what we call an offset wheel, which probably, that is the thing that probably does hurt your pace.
I mean, it looks like he took enough front end damage up there that he certainly could have some light wheel damage, enough that, in fact, you can almost see it. It looks like the tire's towed out, kicked out to the, outside a little more than it should be. That's unfortunate. He's, so fast, and this angle does not really seem to.
Yeah, it didn't help. Of course, I've ruined rear chase because I needed a good thumbnam. So I did it in the practice session. It was a fun surprise. It was a fun surprise. But it's very. Although I'd say the damage is definitely his responsibility. So if he didn't spin, that doesn't kick off. Yeah. So that is what it is. Sure. That can decide a championship.
Yeah, and he may have been pushing hard there because he knew he needed to, and a lot of factors go into that. But it's just unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen those two up there battling. Although at this point, you were going to need a jet airplane to keep up with JB tonight. It looks like he is out there and running, man.
The leader likes doing this in SOF Plus. It can be a variety of different leaders, but they do like getting away from the field, and they do like setting their best laps. Damon Mitchell actually sets the second fastest, and these laps are going to start coming down. So much I need to hide the fastest lap overlay for a bit, because if you've noticed the spray off the rear of the cars on the racing line, there's a lot less spray than there used to be on plenty of portions of the track. Like, you can see the car on the right has almost none at all, whereas Lucas Rada was a little bit offline. Maybe not there, but there are definitely bits where the spray is dying down, and I wonder if there will be a strategy or divergence. I will get to see the tyres drivers have put on. We will work out what they have done. To me, my data could be faulty, but if it's not faulty, it actually, to me, looks like the top 5 drivers have put on dry tyres, and then everyone below put on wet tyres. So everyone in this domineering position apparently has been running dries this whole time, which has been significantly faster.
Wow. Okay, well, that's interesting.
If we see that on the overlay, I think it's true. Yeah. I mean, if the data's right, which I think it is about tyres, I don't think it gets that wrong.
I don't know. I would find it very weird that Bryce Allen had wets on and JB had dry. You would think if you're trying to catch the champion, well, I don't know, maybe.
Well, like, you don't get it's a prisoner's dilemma, right? You don't get to know what the other drivers did until you've done it. So if you think wets are the best right now, and that's it, then you're going to make that call, and you're not going to know what other people have done until the race starts. I do notice Bryce Allen has disappeared from reality, and I hope he returns. Do not adjust your picture. I wonder if it was network or no. Is Nathan's the one with the VR setup that always turns into catastrophe, right? I'm pretty sure it's Nathan. So he's still around, or was it? Remind me.
We know he has pants issues. We know that.
Remind me, actually, who went off the track at the very end at Zolder? You were there now. You can tell me this. You better be able to.
Oh, I can't remember that.
Okay, because that's the one that runs a setup with. No, Nathan runs VR. Nathan had the almost like VR stuff. I'm telling you, by the way, I'm just telling you, if you're watching at home, we are just looking at TV1, and you can tell me. Because I just had someone doubt me and tell me, good old friend of the channel just told me it's probably not as bad as Zolder. I think this is a worse experience than Zolder. What I think's happening is that iRacing hasn't set up the auto switch properly. As Bryce Allen enters the pit lane, it is about time to do that. I think he actually was running around invisible and has made it into his pit box. I think he was running around invisible this whole time. I think iRacing doesn't switch the cameras properly. I think the actual cameras are all right, but usually there's this like macro built in where it changes you to the next camera once someone's moved out of range. I've noticed that if I double click on someone, I get a good camera. But if I just leave it on them, you can see this camera isn't moving. It should have moved. It should have moved. It should have moved. And something about the camera auto switching isn't working, because really we should be where TV1 is here now. Well, we solved that issue. Bryce Allen with a black flag. Oh, Bryce, you didn't, did you? You didn't speed. You didn't speed on this very special day. You didn't speed. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged, actually. We're going to get you in the cockpit and take a look at that speed counter. I know what you did. And you can't hide this from me. Pit lane speed limiter's off. Here he goes. And then he realizes, oh, big black flag for Bryce Allen. And you had to basically stop coming out of pit lane in order to make this one happen. Another thing that's happened, by the way, it's all happening everywhere. While I was catching that, Damon Mitchell catching, I kid you not, the big meatball, the spicy meatball, plows there into the back of Tanner Gruber as he misses the corner. Even Bryce Allen caught up in it. That's the closest thing to the big one I think we're going to get today. Oh dear, that was not ideal.
What was that? I guess they were coming out of the pits and he caught him and hit him.
No, this was just on track, I think. Oh, nasty. The car just slides. Under power. And that car is toast. Oh, wow, that car's looking bad.
Yeah, his car's tore up. I mean, if you lose control to that level, it should be tore up. Oh yeah, it's bad.
Indeed, he's just maybe living his worst life right now. I think everybody's struggling with the conditions, and to be honest, it hasn't gotten that much worse. Have you spotted something else, or did you just catch the replay?
No, I'm just watching his tires and just slipping around. I think his car's tore up bad, but I mean, I'm not sure what that was. Very weird. I really don't know what just happened there.
I think he just lost it coming out of the corner, I think. It does happen around here. Someone else has gone wide. But I heard that...
big loss.
I heard the tyre slide, and I heard... you don't quite get the benefit of this, but I heard the engine rev up super high in the tyre slide. And I'm like, that's just sort of the dead giveaway that it's all gone wrong in a hard braking zone on the rubber. As Damon Mitchell's continuing to struggle with a beat-up car.
He's got to park that thing. It's tore up.
Yeah, Bryce Allen sitting on a black flag for a pit lane violation as well. So everything sort of happened for everyone today. As Nathan Lee, I mean, come on, we can do it. Yeah, here we go. Nathan Lee, I think, serving his actual pit stop here. He'll come out. Stephen Folks has stopped. I think Nathan and Sonny Zhao are the last two. I realized I was having trouble recognizing him, and it's because he's bought out a different car and a different design. It reminds me of the Citroen rally cars, the ones you'd see that like won all those championships. The classic one from Colin McRae 4.
Yeah,
that's the feeling I get.
Yeah, it's actually I like that scheme he had on that car. Let's see here. I'm trying to see what we got going on now, where we're at. We got, obviously, JB is so far out. He's in a different area code now.
He's been in a different area code from.
Not Mitch Welker's only 6 seconds behind.
Only 6 seconds. I think we'll find JB's been setting nothing but banger laps from moment to moment with only 6 minutes to go. I wonder if there'll be any chance to make it up. Mitch Welker is fast here, but it will be an interesting little chase.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, but he just made up almost a second. Well. He made up a half a second while we were talking. It's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, Mitch is fast, and he definitely charges late in races too.
Is a late charger with all the time we have. You know what? I have a. I'm just going to my public service announcement. I've asked the cabal of broadcasters that sit around on some of these servers. There is a small chance I actually did this camera problem to myself. Small chance. Thankfully, I've been pretty much dealing with it. I'll say that. I've been pretty... But there's a chance I actually may have deleted all of the auto camera transitions at some point, probably while trying to screenshot your car. So if I did that, then at the very least, I have salvaged this performance by continually switching the cameras off to make sure we don't miss much. And in that case, I do tender my formal apology to John Henry and iRacing for slandering their cameras. That could have been what happened.
I'm not sure that the season could have ended any better than that right there. Oh man, that's something else.
Yeah.
I really would love to see Mitch Welker run JB down just for the sake of it. I don't think it's going to happen with 5 minutes to go, but it would be fun.
So I can give you like one more for good measure, sort of one more for good measure situation. I can try to, and every time I do this, there's a 50-50 chance this ends in absolute tears, yeah? Can I bring up the comparison widget? Yes, I can. Broadcasting is being very kind to me today for all the other self-inflicted follies. We'll keep that gap on the screen for the last 5 minutes of the race, and we'll see if it comes down any significantly. So, JB to Jay, as he goes a bit wide there, I wonder what this penalty count is going to look like for some of these drivers. I think there's been 4X's, 1X's, million X's all over the track. Lucas Renner's run a good race without catastrophe to run into P3. Stephen Folks has had a fantastic showing and some great battling on the track to hit up P4. And Lewis Gilbert, finally making it to the track, has given us a performance worthy of the fun. And of course, everyone else has brought in a fun race as well, but there's just been so much happening. It's been very hard to properly follow. I don't think... Well, if that goes to 4.0 in like the next minute, I'll start telling you something's going on, okay?
You know, it's been coming down, but slowly. I mean, at this point, JB's about to win a championship. The last thing you want to do is overdrive a corner and do something stupid. I'm sure he's taking that cushion he's got and just, taking it a little easy. Last thing you want to do is throw a championship away by overdriving a damp corner and, on the last 4 minutes of the race.
And it didn't, I guess it didn't truly dry. Here's Sonny Zhao alongside JB to J as this is the first driver being lapped in today's race. It's quite a long track, so, it took a while. I was just thinking, what would be a more poetic end of the season than JB to J accidentally clearing himself in a lapped car? But I always had that thought in the back of my mind, but he didn't do it. So we do indeed have a clean run to the finish, and only a few minutes to go until he locks in the first, and only for a while, as the season takes a break going into the new year, TCR SOF Plus Championship, and he has raced brilliantly every time he's made it.
Yeah, he's really fast, and he's, like I said, he's at this point, there's enough moisture out there in some spots that he's going to certainly, not do anything stupid, which is, that's the only reason they've even come close. The gaps come down at all, but he's controlling it just fine. He's got 2 minutes to go here. He's in good shape. Which he's been fast every time he's been here. I know he missed a race or two, I think, but yeah, he's such a great driver. I really hate that Bryce Allen had such a rough night. I was really looking forward to those two banging doors a little bit.
It's been a challenging race for quite a few drivers, more incidents than I've ever seen in this series before up to this point. And Bryce just being part of that absolute whirlwind of just things going wrong for most people. But it wasn't blind luck. And JB to J is proof of that. as he comes across the line to probably take the white flag this time around.
There should be, I think. Yeah, there it is.
That is Barney the flagman providing it when my overlay may indeed wait, divot, and delay to give me the true facts of the situation. And it's been a real credit. Yeah, you did spot him. I can tell you definitely would have spotted him.
I did see old Barney up there waving the white flag, it looked like to me.
I'll completely believe it in this case, as Mitch Welker does get it within 4 seconds, but isn't going to make up the gap. It's a Herculean task to re-click a driver every single time they leave the camera, but now I'm understanding that sometimes you walk into your own problems. As you said, what a way to end the season. I'll just say, like, I've got a bit of a rousing speech prepared for the end of this, so I'll save it all for now. But I'll say that I've learned a lot about the whole broadcasting experience from start to end through this series. And it includes primarily, and I did volunteer to do this series. So, it was the first thing I ever did. So I picked a league and I picked one that I liked. And I just jumped on top of it. And it was sort of like I've chosen to do this, so, things can go wrong. But I've certainly learned what can go wrong. Almost every week a new thing has happened to the stream in some way. We've had weeks cut short. We've had weeks I just made too loud. We've had weeks where the replay died. I've learned basically everything through this. I've got more to say on the subject of picking this up and enjoying the experience in just a hot minute. But until then, we'll just give JB to J the final checkered flag of the season as he takes home. I was hoping that it would be a big enough margin that the penalties and bonuses wouldn't mess up, and I think it will be. I think it's almost certain here that JB to J is taking home the first and currently only TCR SOF Plus Championship.
Yeah, congratulations to JB. Now, one thing that's interesting is Mitch finished second here. We don't know about penalties or anything yet, and Bryce is in 9th place right now. I wonder if that was enough for Mitch to make up that gap and pass Bryce in the points.
Well, we'll get the confirmation from Mitch in a minute. Did upload the points, and the site does all the work in an instant. But for now, the prospective points makes it look like it might not. Might is an important word, so let's wait until we get official news on that one. But as it stands, if the calculations are right and the math successfully maths, then that could be Bryce's P2. We'll hold out. I'm sure we'll get news very, very soon as the drivers finish their cooldown laps around now, and we can start talking to some of these drivers. What will be the last time? I will miss them.
Yes, we had some pretty fun conversations, and we managed to get Sonny in on several broadcasts after you stiffed him in the beginning.
I mean, as I said, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Everything at some point that could have gone, and this is probably the most epic thing that to go wrong was to lose all of our camera presets going into the last race.
The reality of that, though, is that this is exactly what you needed for your first season. Here we go.
This is deeply unprofessional, but I'm just going to show you what I might have done wrong. I might have hit remove on all the keyframes, trying to reset the camera. If I load the track and I put on TV1 again on, say, Lewis Gilbert, I bet it's going to move now. The lack of professionalism is just out of control on the show today. I mean, we had to do this for Indy when we lost the results, so we've seen it plenty of times.
It's not moving.
Oh, it's not moving.
Mm-mm.
I think it's because, honestly, I will work out how this UI works at one point, but like when it comes to camera groups, I'm sure this track has to have camera groups. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking to some drivers any moment now, and we just make the call. You can talk while I make this space, actually. That would be a perfect way for me to round this out.
Yeah, no problem. So let's see. I'm just going to run. I'm looking here at the results. Lucas Reller brought the Burger King car home in third for you. That's nice. Now you can have your burger and fries. And Stephen Fox had a good run tonight. Nathan Lee runs sixth. That's a little further back than Nathan seems to run normally, but tonight was giving a lot of people fits, and I think the tire choices they made early on affected the outcome of this race greatly for several people, and probably also was a cause to some of the incidents that we saw tonight. We saw some incidents, maybe more than normal, and I think maybe you had guys out there on slick tires that were sliding a little more than they were used to, and you had guys out there on wet tires that were running out of water to keep those tires cool. So that probably was a factor in some of that. But what a great season! I actually look forward to talking to JB. He was, like I said, extremely helpful when I was in there trying to set my car up to do a few laps before the qualifying started. And it's been, and I want to say that I've really enjoyed doing this broadcast this season with Howie and with this group of guys. It's a really fun group. And I hope that they do take one season off and bring this league back, because it's a good group of guys, and it's got a lot of potential to make a few tweaks to it and to get some nice turnouts. It's a fun league, and if somehow or another they keep it broadcasted, that'll certainly help.
So I could already read the vibes a little bit from the room. So I feel like I need some time. People might need some room to call off, but we'll try and get people in one at a time. And we'll first of all talk to which is I don't need to get Mitch's confirmation to tell you that JB DJ has cleared so many points to essentially become our champion. So let's speak to him straight away. Hello, JB.
Gentlemen, good evening.
You don't even. I assume you found out what happened behind you, but you got to see none of that firsthand. You just got to run away with it. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. No, I did see early on. I think Damon got tangled up with somebody in the last corner, and other than that, I heard a couple of people saying I've been tapped or something like that, but nobody was raging. So I look forward to looking back on it.
I think
it was
a little bit of everything.
It was action packed. It was action packed. Let's just say that there was a little bumping and grinding going on back there for sure. But congratulations, man! You took this one from wire to wire, and I was really hoping Bryce was going to stay up there with you. I wanted to see you two bang doors all night.
I was really looking forward to it, and then he had a lost connection. I was just gutted for him. I'm sure he's practiced and he's been doing so well, and I was looking forward to a really good battle. I think the tires made all the difference, and I went with dry tires, he went with wet tires, and the only reason I went with dries is because Damon qualified in them in dry tires. I wasn't even thinking about it, and I looked up and I saw that he had qualified in dry tires and he qualified third, and I'm thinking, well, there just might be something to that. And so,
well, as you know, when we talked about it early, when I was in there in practice running around there, we talked about that. We talked about the fact that you said it wasn't raining currently, and we talked about the fact that it could go potentially go dry at some point, or drier at some point during the race. And that was a great decision on your part. And as it worked out, at one point in the race, the top 5 guys were all on dry tires, and the next 5 were all on wets. So it was clearly the right choice. I'm sure it contributed to a few more incidents, because you get out there and you hit one of them little slick spots on the curbs or on the green paint or something like that, and then bust your tires loose. But it clearly was. You made the right choice tonight.
Yeah, you had to stay off the paint for sure. Towards probably the last 15 minutes, you could play around getting on the curbs somewhat, but you didn't want to tempt it because you'd come out on the wrong end of that. So that was the one thing I had to be disciplined on, was stay off of those curbs. And the car just kept getting faster and faster and faster.
Being as far out ahead as you were, at one point there, you were in a different area code before pit stops. You were so far out there. that obviously you didn't have to push the card, run it wide on exit and stuff like that. And so, it was obvious what you were doing there towards the end. You protected a championship, but what a great run, and you've had all season, and I've sure enjoyed watching you race all season.
I've had a great time, and I've really enjoyed the broadcast, and the guys that have shown up week in and week out. They're just great. They're just great guys. And Lewis put out word all over and brought him some more people. I think I'm going to credit him for the more people showing up this time. So I was pleased, and I hope this continues. This really works well with my schedule, and I'm having a good time.
I wish it worked as well for mine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? I mean, maybe if Mitch decides to bring this back, maybe we can work something out where it's done with American, broadcasters because Howie's like 2 a.m. right now, and
I've been telling Mitch 1 hour earlier, and I'm in. All right, but we'll talk about that one in a minute. So for any shout outs for the last time, because you got a championship this time. You can dedicate this to everyone in your life.
I am. Everybody. There's no one in particular. Just absolutely everybody. It's just been a real thrill, and I can't thank Mitch enough for putting the time in and putting this together. And I know that I'm sure he's a bit frustrated that there's not a bigger turnout, but these things take a couple seasons for people to catch on, and I think before you know it, it's going to be a good sized grid. So we'll see.
I agree with that. That's 100% correct. These things do take time, and they will build up.
Guys, thank you much. Howie, in about an hour, get some rest.
I've got some big thanks to give to the whole lobby after we're done here, but I'd like to have it all pre-prepared and let other people take the space a bit first as we move on talking to Mitch Welker. First of all, who can let us know if there's any twists and turns in the championship picture, although I'm not quite sure about the difference between the second and the third. I'm sure he'll accept the invite. I can't pass by our league admin. I can't pass by our league admin. Hello, Mitch.
No. I had to click accept there.
Well, that sure was a big race.
That was a really good field. Really glad for the turnout on this final race, especially at Navarra. I know I changed it up from Spa, which was admittedly kind of a risk, but glad a lot of people turned out. Navarra's awesome. Had a great time. Yeah, thanks to everybody who showed up, maybe for their first time, maybe for a whole season. It's been up and down, but thankful to have a good field for this last one.
Your race went about everywhere, didn't it?
Yeah, so first lap, accidentally spun Damon. That was pretty poor on my part. Got the apology done, and if Damon had ended up catching me again, instantly would have let him by. Not how I want to do it, just like try to cut across, cut back, and get the better run off, but just was not clear. So completely on me. Ended up falling to the back, but luckily chose the correct tire for once and made my way up with Lucas. So a good result at the end.
I'll give this one to you, Jim.
You charged up. I mean, I love your style, man. I love an aggressive driver, somebody who's, and I was saying during the broadcast, that's part of the beauty of league racing is you can get in there and bump doors with somebody, and it's not going to affect your safety rating, and you're not worried about all that and being tentative. You can race, and that's the beauty of league racing. And I also want to tell you, while I've got you here, that you did a great job with this league this season. This was a lot of fun for me to come in and do several races during the season. And I know you were frustrated by your turnout. I just want to tell you that last season I raced in a GT3 league. It was their first season, and we were having 8-10 car turnouts, which is horrible for GT3, of course. And he got stuck with it, kept promoting it, and this season he's getting 25 to 35 car fields. So don't lose faith. You got a good thing going here. You pick good tracks. and especially if you deviate when you see a opportunity like this where you knew Spa was not going to be exciting, you needed to put it on a track that was going to be more fit for these cars, and you did that. I just wanted to tell you that because I haven't had a lot of chance to talk to you this season, and like I said, I know you were frustrated, and this, that's my opinion of what you got going here, and I just wanted to compliment you on that.
Appreciate that. Yeah, good to hear. Glad to hear that from you. Thanks for coming out and helping out Howie here.
Yeah, by the way, you made me look horrible last week when you come on and decided to broadcast and do a good job. Okay. You didn't do me any favors there. I appreciate that.
you got me another American commentator.
It was a good time. I had a good time with that, definitely.
That's true. Yeah, you did a good job. You really did.
Thank you.
Well, it was a lot of fun to be here for the whole time, and again, I'll save the fancy words for the end, but I would definitely come back to any opportunity that I am more capable of making whatsoever. If you can't make it happen, I'll try and make it happen myself. You and your whole team that really brought this together have been a joy. Been bumping into all of you in my iRacing lobbies now, and it's nice to have those names to come back to. And I've always liked TCR Racing, but I've seen some crazy stuff this season, so that's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
I'm going to try and go in the order from left to right in the audience tab, just because there's so many people, and I don't want to lose track of people, so we'll get up Tanner Gruber.
Hi, Howie.
Hey, one of the many people collected today. Trust me, you weren't the only one. We did catch at least that one on the screen at least once, but it's a bit chaotic everywhere we went, and we couldn't catch everything. So how did your race generally go?
Oh, I guess I came out all right in that incident. It didn't derail me too much, but I'm happy enough. It was a new track for me. It was mostly learning things. Tricky with the little bit of wetness. I think my call to go on the wet tires might have been the wrong one. I think the dry tire was the one to have.
The mistake I would have made, I think.
Yeah, Tanner, Jim Cunningham, by the way. I think you're 100% correct. The dry tire was the way to go. I certainly would not have made that decision. I would have went with the wet tire. Especially
in practice, they felt safer, but I think ultimately, the dry was the faster with some skill to wrangle it.
Well, and comfort with the track too. You said this was a new track for you, and you weren't very familiar with it. Anytime you get outside your comfort zone, it's tougher to make decisions like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But you had a good season. I mean, overall, you've had a good season. I know I enjoyed covering you while I was doing the broadcast.
Well, that's good to hear. I try to, I'm still fairly new to it all, I think. So I'm just trying to improve and get faster and have fun. I'm always down to have fun.
Right. Yeah, no, it was entertaining all season. Like I told Mitch, I want all y'all to encourage him to stick with this and see if you can make it grow. I think it will grow.
Oh, I'll be back. Yeah, I'm here to support this, and yeah, it's a nice thing. And shout out to Mitch for organizing it, and yeah, everybody who continues to support it.
So, anybody else you want to shout out to, or
yes,
the season and
right now, I just want to shout out the vets at the local animal hospital. Lucas here, who you might talk to. His poor dog is a little sick, and at this hospital. So I want to shout out the vets taking care of Lucas's dog. Hoping she gets better soon.
Oh, that was cool.
Ain't that a sweet way to wrap it all up? Lots of people to run through now, but I've appreciated having you show up every single week. It's been a joy.
Thanks, Howie. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Bryce is next in line, one after another. You're all coming one after another. Hello, Bryce. I didn't get to run into you earlier this week in IMPC, but we almost got it. But I need to try and remember the race everybody had, because everybody had I think you might have had one of the most up and down though.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't know that you could do dries in this kind of track condition.
Yeah,
that was wild. Definitely.
Yeah, Bryce, Jim Cunningham. Yeah, that got you, didn't it? For sure. Yeah, this is Jim Cunningham. I was to say, yeah, the wet tires got you, didn't they?
Oh yeah, more than the wet tires though. There was some incidents.
Yeah, there was some, you know.
Yeah,
I think
possible battle on your cards, and then you ended up finishing near the back, unfortunately, quite a few instances. Were you one of the ones that caught damage quite early? How bad actually was the damage? Because it looked like you were running around for a while. I might be getting you confused.
It was pretty bad. I think my wheel was kind of locked to the right at like 20-ish degrees. When I pit, it needed 3 minutes to repair, so it wasn't ideal.
That's where you went.
We looked at your car during the race. I think Howie's a little overwhelmed because he had to click about 700 million camera buttons tonight. But we did go. We looked at your car and I could clearly see there was damage, and your right front looked like it was towed out pretty bad. And so we clicked inside your cockpit, and your wheel was definitely cocked. You know, we could see that. So more power to you for, you know, just that's tough. I mean, we've all done it, and that's brutal, you know, and especially to try to be competitive. But yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I really wanted to see you up there banging doors with JB. You've had a good season. You know, I'm a big fan. I like the way you drive. I like your driving style. So I personally enjoyed covering you when I was here this year, and I hope if Mitch does this again, you're going to come back and support it, because you made it a lot of fun for me, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'll absolutely come back. I'm excited to see a lot of the same faces next season.
Yeah, well, we got to all convince Mitch that this is worth doing again, and that we can all bring one friend and help this thing grow. And if we do that, this will be a growing and great series. So, anybody you want to shout out to before you get off here for the year? You did have a good year. I think it looks like you are going to finish second in points, I believe.
I will
that has been
absolutely
confirmed.
take that.
By the way, it's a total second. That has been confirmed. So
I will take a second. Shout out to you, Howie. Shout out to you, Jim. Amazing commentating. Like I said, I don't think I would have shown up to as many of these as if it wasn't for the commentary. Keeps me coming back every week. It's really great. Shout out to everyone that showed up. Looking forward to seeing a lot of the same guys, hopefully, next season. Shout out to my mom. I know she watched this one. So, but yeah, thanks for the great season. It was a ton of fun. This is the most fun I've had in like sim racing, like ever.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that Mitch needs to hear.
Make sure you definitely have an agenda here. I mean, I've enjoyed it very much, but every single answer.
No, seriously though. I mean, it's sometimes it's frustrating to run these things and not get any turnout, and sometimes we don't give enough appreciation to the people that do it. And I want to see this thing go on. This was a lot of fun. If I can't commentate it next season, I might come race with you guys. This is right on my racing night too. So, like I said, I enjoyed the heck out of this. I hope it comes back. And yes, I do have an agenda, Howie.
We'll take it. Well, yes. As I said, fun to watch your All Championship. We did just spot you also speeding in the pit lane. I'm not going to let you escape that accusation, but did catch that one happening. So you certainly had a roller coaster race of a billion different proportions. Maybe not the battle you would have wanted to see, but it was still a fun as hell race. Still a ton of stuff. A ton of stuff happened, and it's been a joy every week. So
I was gutted when it was a wet track because I did practice quite a bit, and I'm not the best wet driver. So unfortunate.
Well, good.
Well, you learned a couple things. You learned to check and see what tires people are qualifying on, so you can switch.
I don't know if you can see. I don't know. Maybe you can. I'm moving along, people, to try and get Nathan Lee in here as well. I'm just moving real quick. So.
Yep. All right.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello. Good to see you again.
Yes, indeed. I've seen you more than a few times nowadays. You were one of the good GT4s earlier. You really were. And you had another really eventful race. I mean, your finishing result doesn't even really give away the full story of your day, to be honest. I basically couldn't look away from the battling.
Yeah, it was some really good racing up and down the field. I think I was on the wrong tire. I didn't even think to check, and I was just like, "Yep, wet track." But you know, if I had realized other people were on dry tires, I probably would have switched, and I think it did come back to bite me. Although I didn't really have as much like practice time as I would have liked to as well in this course. But excuses. You know, at the end of the day, it was super fun race. Had some great battling with everyone, and you know, just glad to be here. So yeah, fantastic race as always.
Yeah, Nathan, it's Jim Cunningham. I just wanted to congratulate you. You had a good season. You were every race that I came out, you were fun to watch. You know, you raced hard, exciting stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So, anybody you want to shout out to before we get out of here and move on to the long list of people waiting?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. You know, YouTube made a huge difference to this league. Like something I've looked forward to every week for the past, I don't know how long we've done this, 13, 12, maybe even, or yeah. Anyways, you guys have made it so much fun just to watch back the replays and see the commentary. It's been awesome. And then I think Mitch left the audience, but huge shout out to Mitch too. Like I know it takes a lot to run a league. I know it's probably not as many people as he would have liked to have, but you know, like I said, I look forward to this every single week. I really hope he does it again next time. And I'm with you on your agenda, Jim. I'm really hoping he brings it back. So, yeah. And then
so I don't have to promote the agenda. Then you're already on it. That's good.
I'm with you. Yeah. And then just like my family too for watching. They've come and watched week after week. Same with my wife. It's great to have people here and friends to race with and some awesome commentary. So, yeah, thanks for everything. I really appreciate it.
All right, Nathan. Thank you.
Always a joy bringing in Lucas Rella, who I wish we could see more of this season. Although life obviously gets in the way, and it's a miracle you made it here in the first place. Dude, I see that Burger King cart from a mile away, and we usually catch you having results where you obviously are faster and something goes wrong, but this was just a good race.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this was kind of the opposite of some of my past races where I ended up doing the right thing and being on the right tire, and it saved me because I had very little practice on this track. And I think especially like if Bryce and some of the company there had started on the right tire, it would have been hard for me to finish where I did.
That's true. That's very true. You did make the right choice on tire. And did you make that decision on your own, or did you notice that anybody else was switching and you decided to go with it, or was that just a decision you made on your own?
So I was going to do the dry tire because I expected a lot of people to do the wet, and I just kind of wanted to be what I thought was going to be the odd one out to see what happened. And then JB and Mitch were talking about how people had qualified on the dry, and it ended up being the right choice. So it was more luck than anything for me, at least.
It pays off to hang around in that chat room right before the start of the race, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially when the people in the chat room are more experienced and faster than you. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I know Howie is in love with your car.
Stands out. It's from a mile away. It's the Burger King.
Howie, I'm very happy I found the paint.
Howie, did you see his profile picture?
Yeah. I have one request for you though, Lucas. If you can set your the livery in iRacing, you know, in the paint booth to one of the paints that is not one of like the Hyundai coloured ones, because there's this exists in all of iRacing. This isn't just a bug, but it's the reason when I bring up the grid, your windows are an absolute nightmare. Where are we? Where are we?
See this.
Yeah, and that's because the underlying paint is one of the Hyundai ones rather than any of the paint shop ones. It's an iRacing bug. They'll never fix it. So you have to be the one that fixes that.
I'm going to do that right now for next season when Mitch hosts this again, right?
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, the groundswell is too big. They've got to make it happen. They've got to make it happen. We're not going to speak to you nearly enough throughout the week. So any shout-outs before we move down the line?
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Mitch and you guys for making this happen. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it weren't happening. So I think that's appropriate for the end of the season. You guys Mitch put the series together. You guys made it extra special with the commentating. It was a great combo.
I think it was
a lot of fun.
It's been a real journey, but it's been one I've been very, very happy to make it to the end of, and I've enjoyed the whole step of it every single time, and hope to see more of you on the track soon. We're going to get in Lewis Gilbert, who finally showed up after a while of not being able to, and brought a great party to finish the day as well. If you've not dealt with the spaces before, you requested and I forgot to invite. Classic. I almost blamed this one on you. Well, Lewis, I think it was worth the wait. You were very, very competitive and a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate that. It was obviously the wrong tire, but I was delighted to get Damon and myself from our Croc Promotions team over to compete this week, have a bunch of fun. I think the league has been pointed out before, the broadcasts on YouTube is putting TCR in a space where it deserves to be, and that's a credit to all of you involved, and certainly the folks out there racing. Quality of racing, quality of broadcast is exceptional. And
you've been one of my weekly cheerleaders, so I definitely appreciate it coming from you.
So, crazy good
awesome.
job. Delighted.
Now, you bought a big entourage of drivers. Some of them were lined up to talk, and I guess they saw the size of the queue and they backed out. They were all an absolute joy. Some of them got quite unlucky and quite tangled up, and unfortunately, there were more incidents than we usually see around here, although it was the wet. But I'm just going to let you know, and maybe you can pass it on, that they all were really, really fun, and I would love to see any one of them again, no matter what.
Yep, I'm going to look to connect with Mitch and see what we can do to help grow this sucker.
Yeah. Any shout outs, anything else you want to say before we move on to the last couple notes around it?
Yeah, congratulations, JB, and also shout out to Howie and Jim for great commentary. It's addictive stuff.
Oh, it's good to know that I am addictive stuff. That's the best thing I could ever know. Well, it was great to see you. Hope to see you again. It was a lot of fun. It's the last one who's stayed in the audience this whole time is Rickson Sunny Zhao, who really should have joined me in that Pilot Challenge race last week. Really should have joined me, but instead he was spotting along. We only didn't get to catch much of you because so much was happening today. I mean, it's just in character for them to have the wildest race. Although I will notice, I thought that car was a very intelligent, nice throwback to the Citroen WRC for me. Maybe you weren't intending for it. It actually took me a while to recognize that it was yours because you just drive different cars a lot of the time.
Yeah, I Saturday was all about when I start spotting for you, and it was a fun race. All in all, it's kind of difficult race. I end up with 16x, so no penalty for me for the 17.
You do get a points penalty, but you don't get a drive-through for it. So you take one and you leave the other.
Yeah, I don't really care about that one. I'm not into conditioning any sort anyway. I'm just here for the fun.
You do get a position for showing up so many weeks, and it's great to see you show up so many weeks in a row. The wet conditions, I guess they came as a surprise to absolutely everybody. And at the very last minute, I'd hate it. I'd quit on the spot if I saw the wet session. I'd be like, I'm not doing it, So
it's kind of weird one for me because I practice not a lot, but I practice some in the dry. And this race feels like sometimes I feel, I have grip here, and then next time the same spot, although I'm not consistent, at the same spot I was like, I don't have grip here, and it's very weird for me to try out the grip. And it's kind of like drying condition. Everyone's getting faster and faster, but I just feel, it's kind of odd one for me. But I don't mind. It's whole new experience. I never do this before.
Well,
you did a great job.
Thank you.
You've been a continually enjoyable presence to just have on the grid, as is everybody that has shown up week to week. So, take every season you make it through as an achievement. League racing is an addictive drug, and it gets you in forever. Do you have any shout outs before we round out and finish off this stream?
Well, shout out for Bryce and Nathan. They helped me a lot of this season, so I will get some more practice over the next few weeks and even next year, and so I can get down the pace more and more. And and thanks for Mitch and decided the whole thing up, and thanks for you guys being awesome. And it was also very awesome to see you race in other categories.
It's crazy to see just people show up in my races from this league. They started in absolutely infesting, and the thing is, like, because you weren't in the race, you sent me a DM on Discord when we spot the same lobby, and I was like, I don't know why somebody's else messaging me. I don't see him on the list, and find out you're spotting for a GT4 behind. It's a crazy multicast race, so I take it all as what they can get. We had a wild race. I think you got to witness quite a bit of madness up there.
Yeah,
it's always good to bump
you were
into people.
crazy.
How did he take that position from me on the last lap? Where'd he come from?
I know.
If I didn't take 30 seconds of repairs, by the way, I would have finished ahead, but I took them.
Oh, that's required?
No, I just wanted to fix the bodywork. It was stupid of me.
Oh.
Well, I could talk about that race for hours, and unfortunately, I cannot right now, although catch up with me after the fact. It's been great to see you, and thank you so much for the race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, and before we round out the stream, I would just like to have a few extra words on top of what has been said. This channel literally started with this series. It started here because I just saw my favorite type of car. I just saw my favorite type of series. And I just saw a league would appreciate me jumping in, and a league would appreciate me giving it a shot. And you know what? What I found was a community that I ended up loving. What I found was a community that just was incredibly welcoming and loving, and I've learned so much over this time experience, so much about every part of running these shows for yourself. Don't go back to the first few weeks because they look bad, but if you go back to the first few weeks, you'll see what's changed and what's grown, and how I've changed, how I've grown, and how everything around this has just become an incredible part of the experience. Very much I can thank this league essentially for proving to me that a small little dream of being able to do this was even possible in the first place, and it's why I'd be so excited to just drop in again with any of you. If another opportunity comes around, when another opportunity comes around, we're not going to make it an if. We're going to make sure something happens. I will be a part of making sure something happens, and we'll definitely work out what we can do with this great community, and even think about expanding it down the line, because these things, as Jim has said, they do take momentum, they do take time, but everybody is just getting on so well here. It's great.
Yeah, this has been it's been a pleasure for me, and I've learned. Oh, I can't even tell you how much I've learned, and I'm still learning. And it was fun to see you as a broadcast, as a channel grow, and I think that you are headed in some wonderful directions. So, and I love this league, and I know Mitch is gonna figure out how to bring this back, and there's clearly a lot of support with these guys out there, and just all they got to do is grab one friend each, and we'll have a huge grid. We'll be great. So, thank you for bringing me out for the season, Howie, and I look forward to joining you on obviously plenty of other broadcasts.
I'm not going to flash up the ad this time, but I will say that if you subscribe to the channel, there's a lot more coming where this comes from, both as we round out this season in our own in-house leagues, or as we pick up some new and exciting content coming into the next seasons. We have plans lined up. They're great, and you can keep an eye on me, and you can keep an eye on some of the other great people I work with as well, because we got plenty around here. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, maybe I'll dare say hit the notification bell. That one might be a hot take to say. just because I'm starting to sound like a YouTuber now. It's late for me, but I'm going to start getting sappy and sentimental the longer I run around. So I'm just going to say once more, thanks to everyone for being a part of this. Thanks to Mitch, but also thanks to every driver of every week that showed up. You know, even the ones that aren't quite here today to tell the tale. They were all a great part of this show, and I hope to see all of you again at one point soon. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm Howie Burroughs, and this has been Jim Cunningham. And thanks a lot for all the hospitality, all the great